to set up. So I'm going to just take you on a little tour. Adam, pop in with anything amazing and interesting that needs to be answered.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start here is my sharpening station. And with this, it's very, very important to have a place to sharpen your tools set out at all times, because sharpening is way less of a chore when you do it frequently. And so we've got the sharpening station right there. It's got its own spot. Everything's out and ready to use. And you know, you've got your lubrication, you've got your jigs and fixtures that you need, you've got your flattening stone for the water stones, and that's that. This is my new carving stump. It is sassafras, and Josh and I, Josh Nava, my business partner, we teach a ton of spoon carving classes online through the schoolofalltrades.com. And we needed a higher chopping block because I'm basically 4 feet tall and Josh is like 7 feet tall. And so he was basically getting a huge backache from trying to use my tiny little carving stump. So we are not only using that, but I've also made room for 2 more carving stumps that will be individual ones to our, you know, individual heights. Over here we have the kind of wall of shame. If you watched my original tiny shop video, it occurred, you know, a while ago, but things have changed a lot. But a lot of the projects of shame here on my wall of shame are still there. So, you know, not a ton of them have gotten started or have gotten finished, but lots more have gotten started. And it's funny how that seems to work. Back here, a ton of people ask me about what these whiteboards are all the time. And they are actually a productivity resource. As many of you know, we are always juggling lots and lots and lots of things at one time. And so Josh and I have put together our own special blend of Scrum analysis, which comes from the tech world, and capacity searching and all kinds of other things like that. So basically we have a backlog of things that is just like basically ideas that we want to have happen in the very near future. Then we have things that we're doing this week. We have things that we're doing today. We have a small schedule of things that we want to have scheduled all the time. Then we have a calendar, and then the most important thing about this is right here, this done section, because there is such a gratifying feeling of taking a task and putting it over here to be done. Okay, and then over here, my friend Greg Pennington and I installed a new electrical panel in the office so that, are you ready for the drum roll here? So that we could get the power tools set up temporarily in this part of the barn so that we could start doing some woodworking classes and also YouTube videos around building furniture once again in the meantime. Because as some of you may know, when we moved to Nashville last year, I was planning to have our new school building where my shop will be already finished by May of 2020, and now because of the pandemic and lots of other things, that has been delayed indefinitely. So in here we've got a planer that helps us to thickness boards quickly. You can do that by hand. By the way, my favorite part of the shop is literally right there. There's my little Johnny boy. But the best part about working in here is that I also get to have friends working with me. So there. You take a little plane and then you come out here and you get some baby goats and some June bug and all the best things that the farm has to offer along with the wood shop. Here we've got a jointer and we've got the tiny bandsaw that Josh has lent me for the time being. But this also needs to serve as a barn, so we've also got our food bins there, miter saw there, and then the dust collector is on wheels so that I can push it over to whatever tool I happen to be using at that moment. Here's the table saw, and once again, that can be pulled out into this walk area. Got some hay also, because once again, it's got to be useful. But we've got this table saw can pull out and be used here, and then back in here, we've got like hand tools, like hand power tools and things like that. But then, of course, doesn't every wood shop also need a place that you can milk your goats? So that's what that is there. And little oscillating sander and grinder and other things are over there. But then mostly in here is just parts and hand tool storage, and then a little bit of workbench space as well. I picked up this incredible Wilton vise for an absolute song because it was missing its jaws. but for $30 online, I found a place where I could buy more jaws. And I think we should just take a quick hello and see how the baby goats are doing. And there's June, my livestock guardian dog. The babies are there. I wonder if I can change the, oh, nope, Dolly Parton's chewing on it. Here's my John boy, and there's Milk Dud and her baby Whopper. And let's go back in now. We've now seen all that there is to be seen in the wood shop. This little, the kind of the impetus for all of this reorganization happened because I needed to get this giant thing out of the office, but I can never bear to throw potentially useful things away. So back in the shop, oh, I got distracted saying about the electrical panel, but my friend Mark from Stumped Woodworks made me this sign, which very conveniently slides off of a French cleat and gives us access to the electrical panel. Funny side note, underneath it, which I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Oh, I can. There was a tad more damage to the wall than I had expected. Oops, sorry. So that had to get put up there. And then there's also damage to the wall from some other things that don't need to be mentioned here. And that is where I'm hanging my friend Emmett's spoon drawings. This is a chair that Greg Pennington and I are working on developing and modifying. So that possibly could be a video sometime soon. And then over here, obviously we have my workbench. This was my first woodworking project. And my second woodworking project, which is this tool chest. And then way down the line is my Dutch tool chest over there. And one of my efficiency favorite things about this shop is that all these pegs and then the magnets there allow you to just pull whatever tools you want off of the wall and then use them. And then of course there's my shave horse there where I can pull it out and use it. And no wood shop with a hoarder like me would be okay to have without a wood stove, because having a wood stove in a wood shop in a place that it sometimes gets cold helps you not to absolutely and totally hoard all of your woodworking scraps. Okay, so now you've had a tour, you've seen one of the things that has kept me insanely busy for the last few weeks, and now we're back to Adam. So now let's do a little bit more of oh, well, and also let me just quickly pop in and say that I lost my beer. Oh, thank God, it's right here. One of the things that I've been asked a lot recently is why I stopped making YouTube videos, because it's been 2 months since I posted one. And to be totally honest, after posting a new video almost every single week for the last 5 years, I was very, very burnt out and I needed a break. Also, I was really struggling between keeping up with a regular production schedule and making videos that were actually really, really helpful for people. And I think that sometimes I was just really losing, or like it was becoming harder and harder for me to make videos that I felt were actually valuable on a regular basis. So instead of quantity, we are now moving to what I hope is better quality and giving myself a little bit more head space and mind space. And also just like financially speaking, it costs a lot, either in my time or in paying editors and people to help me make the videos to produce videos. So I want to make sure that also I'm being a good steward of my resources in producing those videos as well. Okay, so those are the things that I promised we were going to talk about, and now we can get to the conversation. So Adam, what kinds of fun questions were asked while I was gone?
Aaron asks, what would you suggest for a first budget carving hatchet? I'm new to spoon and bowl carving and am addicted to it. Thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, scooch back because you look much more handsome when we can see you. And second of all, that I love so much that this is the first question, because this is actually the video that I'm working on right now. There are very few affordable hatchets on the market right now. I mean, I guess affordable kind of depends on what your budget is. But my best advice is to get find a used hatchet, or really buy a cheap one and then start using it and find out what doesn't work for you, because one of the biggest things about kind of the learning process is learning messy, having some first iterations that allow you to try and then learn what doesn't work so you can become a more discerning customer the next time. But if you have access to, I mean, this is not really the best time to be going to garage sales for lots of reasons. But my favorite thing is to get axes from garage sales, because you can usually pick them up for a couple bucks, and then you can restore them. And in that restoration process, learning how to sharpen an axe is its own skill. And I don't think enough people talk about how important learning how to sharpen is, or how hard it is to learn how to sharpen. But learning how to sharpen will then take you through a lot of the steps that you need to learn actually to carve better as well. So the best advice is to get a used one. The second best advice is to just get a cheap one from the hardware store and try a few things and see how it goes. Other, I'd say pretty important advice is learn how to use it safely. And this is not, I mean, I guess it is a shameless self-plug, but we do have Josh, my business partner, is an incredible spoon carver, but he has a class on the School of All Trades website it's called The Way of the Axe and Hatchet, and it will teach you how to safely, and much more interesting to me, efficiently use a hatchet to remove a lot of your bulk of your waste, so that you can carve quicker. Because I think one of the biggest hiccups people run into is that their first few spoons take them hours and hours and hours to carve.
Gotcha.
Somebody asked, I think probably while you were looking at the animals, how are the sheep?
Oh, they're good. Well, we're laughing because so the sheep's intention is for meat, and so it is almost that time, which will be we've raised lots of chickens and rabbits and other smaller animals, but we've never done it with livestock before. And also the fact that I bottle fed them will probably make this be a bit more difficult of a thing, but it part of the reason we moved to Nashville and part of the reason that we farm anyway is so that we can be more connected to our food and we can raise ethical meat. So that's that.
Yeah. And
Sorry to disappoint.
A lot of nice comments from a lot of folks. Chuck asks, how can we, your YouTube family, best support you and the School of All Trades? Is Patreon the only / best way?
Patreon is a really awesome way, because it's honestly, it's like big gifts are amazing. For those of you that don't know, our building of the actual physical school, like while we teach a lot of online classes, the building of the physical School of All Trades was paused earlier this year because, everyone expects there to be, the building process is going to cost a little bit more. And having had experience building, I definitely planned some pretty significant cushions into our budget. But because of so many things, I mean, this building didn't just end up costing like a little bit more than expected. It's like to the tune of 5 times what we had initially set out to do because of things of COVID and other things that we don't need to necessarily get into. But yeah.
The Shady Review wants to know what cool things are you building on the property?
Well, actually, this Adam is he calls himself Adam of No Trades, which, by the way, he chose that name himself because he's funny and self-deprecating, and not because I'm a jerk. I mean, I can be a jerk, but I try not to be.
I know I created that account.
Yeah, he had created that name and that account, but he over the pandemic has started a project of his own. So why don't you tell them about the tiki hut?
Sure. Yeah. So there was an empty gazebo up by the house, and it was
kind of not falling apart, but
It was falling apart.
No.
We had to do a lot of fixing.
So it's a screening gazebo, and the bottom part of the gazebo has been
the screen basically is completely broken through because all the animals keep getting up there.
No. Please do not blame our animals. The former owners of the property had goats that they allowed to live on their porch, our porch.
Hey, they might watch this.
Yeah, it's fine. They're the ones who told us about the porch thing. Anyway, their animals had previously made some entryways that, hold on, you're touching the desk and it's shaking the camera.
Oh, okay.
So just,
We're good.
okay, cool. The previous owners had animals that made some entryways that then my animals have expanded slightly.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Anyway, so the screens were broken. Scoot back.
Okay, so
Scooch.
it's a
There you go.
gazebo. The screens are broken in the bottom, and
I, with my friend Mike, decided that we wanted to embark on a project to convert this into a themed tiki hut. Um, and so that's kind of been the quarantine project that's been going on. And if you want to see some pictures, you can always go to my Instagram
His
channel,
Instagram,
Adam of No Trades.
of no trades, and you can see the tiki hut. But also, the tiki hut is especially important to you because you're able to use lots of your like childhood like memorabilia and stuff. Because I know it looks like it, but Adam actually grew up in Hawaii. His family lived. Let me just turn off the heater really quick because I think it's gonna make some wind we don't need. And by heater, by the way, I mean air conditioner that is heating the room because we're in the middle of like some winter storms that are very unprecedented for this area. But anyway, you're using lots of your childhood relics and things like that
Oh,
to
yeah.
decorate it, and that's like that makes it even more special.
no, yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like it's like a pirate themed
kind of nautical fun thing, and just been throughout quarantine cruising eBay and at Facebook Marketplace and trying to find all kinds of stuff for it. And so obviously the first project was making balusters
To
keep the animals out. That was successful. That was a big project.
And that was like one of the first
Yeah.
like home improvement projects we did together, right?
we did that, and we restained it. We put in shelves. We're installing a chandelier.
Mm. This chandelier, by the way, has been a cause of some marital strife.
Has
Because
it?
yes, because he got these he wanted this chandelier to like recreate a storm atmosphere, and so he bought these LED
Kind of,
lights
yeah.
that change colors, but he wanted to test them out first, and so he installed them like various places in the house. And like I don't like unexpected things, and I hate change of like any kind, and so I like went into the bathroom the other day and turned on the light, and it was blue, and I was like, turn this back.
Okay, well, I'm doing smart LED lights for the record, and I'm trying to program them to Alexa
Skills and do a kind of a smart thing going on there. So that's what I'm doing.
It's not
I tested-
smart
I
to
tested-
have the bathroom turn blue.
So I test one bulb next to the bathroom, and it is currently set on blue. So
That is true.
Okay. Okay, so great. So that's that. Also, there was, well, funnily enough, next to the gazebo, there was like an old koi pond that had been installed many years ago.
Yeah.
And when we moved here, there was still one giant koi living in it. And I hope that he's still alive, but
We'll get
I
that all
haven't seen him
fixed.
for a while.
We'll get the koi pond all fixed. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be ridiculously cool.
It is like, it's very silly, but like, I definitely appreciate it because first of all, Adam, like this isn't a side of him that I've seen before. I really like enjoy seeing him work with his hands. But also he has like seeing the design that he's come up with, and I mean I'll just be honest, I did not see the vision when he first started showing me some of the stuff. I was just like, you're basically just gonna put a whole bunch of like pieces of memorabilia on the wall, but it actually is turning out
the
really cool.
problem is that most people when they hear tiki, they think
It's gonna be cheesy.
Tacky.
No, so our
Adam, yeah.
our motto is tiki.
not tacky. So
Great. Okay. What else has been happening?
Okay, well. Well, if anybody has any tiki advice, feel free to send it along.
This is the place to do it. Wait, you know I can make this bigger. Maybe. Oh yeah, look at
there
this.
we go. Oh my
There,
goodness.
oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Somebody asked, how's the golf cart running in the snow?
Oh,
That
actually,
was Donna.
yeah, Donna is asking how is the golf cart running in the snow. The golf cart, I'm sure would run great in the snow. However, on Sunday, okay, so like our property has a really steep hill, and on Sunday I tried pulling the golf cart out of the garage and immediately started sliding sideways down the hill and nearly flipped it the rest of the way down the hill. So I decided to think better of that and pulled right back into the garage, and I've certainly gotten my steps in the last how many days has it been since Sunday? 5 days. Because also, the pipes in the barn froze, which is the source for all of the animal water. So our beef cattle that are out there, there's 10 of them that are very thirsty, it turns out. So lots of bucket carrying with no golf cart, lots of chaff hay carrying because all of the grass is covered by snow. And, but honestly, I will say that, like, in the middle of all of these storms, we're so grateful that we still have power, because I mean, so many of our friends in Texas and stuff, like, I mean, are just like truly in a bad way. And so yeah, we're really thankful and really lucky that we haven't lost power. So
this is a great question.
LDG says,
where is your lathe?
Where's your lathe? Well, when we moved here, first of all, our move here, like, we were planning on moving here sometime, like moving away from Seattle, like sometime within the next 5 years. But our move to Nashville was quite sudden and unexpected, and as such, there was, I mean, moving a farm, animals, and also my shop. I have a lot of really heavy things across the country. Was insanely expensive, and it wasn't an expense that we had really prepared for. And so I sold like 80% of the things that we owned, like, to be able to pay for our move here. And so with the lathe, I used the lathe, like, the lathe is one of my favorite tools, but I sold my lathe to be able to help us offset the cost of the moving truck. And I haven't been able to get a new one yet, but my friend Greg Pennington, he lives just up the way, and he allows me to use his shop and use his lathe. And so actually, I've been able to get my lathe time in and also help him, which makes me so happy. So, yeah. Stu asks, what's the next animal coming to the new animal coming to the farm? And Adam always says that the ark is full.
It is.
However, I will say that we are casually looking for alpacas because I really would like.
That would be fun, though.
Yeah. See. Yeah, because no one doesn't want little lollipops running around their lava pops running around their yard. So.
Well, they're easy.
Yeah. What the?
I think our cat's making noise.
Oh, right. The cat's like, I was like, someone's yelling outside. So let's see, what else has been going on? I did actually promise that I might carve a spoon, but I think really, yeah.
Well, Jose asked, what are your thoughts on CNC machining?
How about that? And then you can carve
My
a spoon.
thoughts on CNC machining are that it's awesome, but I can barely check my email. So, I mean, like, literally, I'm so thankful, that Adam is, like, tech savvy the way that he is, but also just from a business standpoint, I'm so thankful that my business partner, Josh, is really interested in technology, because, I mean, even when it comes to, the building being delayed, we were developing an online platform to accompany the building that would have our online classes on it. But the building being delayed and, like, all the financial stuff that came with that, it ended up with us not having an online platform. So Josh and I, but mostly Josh, just figured out how to build our own online platform where we could just do what's called, like, kind of a first iteration of classes and host them, like, on my Squarespace website, and then do Zoom classes until we could figure out how to do it better. But literally, Josh was the one who was, like, online buying all the equipment that we needed and figuring out how to just make all that stuff work. Because if it was up to me, which, I mean, you're actually seeing the results of me making the decisions. We're not using microphones. We're using my phone to stream. And this is what happens when Ann is in charge of technology. But hopefully it's,
Yeah.
The alternative would be not doing anything. And I don't think that not doing anything is ever the best option, unless you just have nothing to offer. But I really did think it was time to just let everyone know that we're still alive and that we're okay, and that fun things are really coming. And I'm really excited about the next few months.
Yeah, what are you thinking as far as YouTube going forward?
we took a pretty big diversion this year just because we had to, because there wasn't a woodworking shop. I mean, I had this tiny shop kind of set up, but we were, 3 people were working in here on computers, and so we weren't able to we weren't able to I wasn't able to do just projects the way that I would normally do projects. And so yeah, so we started doing a lot more homesteading content, which actually in 2020 I think was insanely helpful for people, because people are thinking like, hey, this is our, the food supply kind of disappeared, and people were feeling really insecure about, what their next steps were. So we went all in on the homesteading content because that's what I thought was helpful, and also because I wasn't able to do as much woodworking. But now that I've got this reset up, I think we're going definitely back into the woodworking vein. And I would love to really, do more blacksmithing, definitely, because I mean, especially, going back to iterations of things, like without having a ton of power tools, I've done a ton of spoon carving this year. And then also because we're teaching so many spoon carving classes, spoon carving is inherently interesting to me right now. And so forging my own tools, even though I already have made my own axe and draw knife and knives, now like really refining what those look like, because I'm just like what I was saying earlier about buying one and trying it and then seeing how it works, I've become a more discerning customer, so I know more about what I don't like, and I'm interested to see if I can find my own fixes for some of those things by blacksmithing and making my own tools.
Very nice. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Tom asked, what is my favorite animal? Farm animal, I guess. My favorite animal is definitely Rigby.
Our dog.
My dog.
His dog, let's be honest.
Favorite farm animal? I think Howdy is, or
Actually, Bella or Howdy are great.
He likes Bella better because Howdy is a little, our miniature donkeys. Bella is a little bit more calm, and Howdy can sometimes be a little kicky for your taste.
And then also recently, Howdy is like a cockleburr magnet.
Oh yeah, okay. So
you can't really.
Yes, you can't. Okay, this is our first experience in the South, and we were seeing this plant all summer, and so we were planning on getting beef cattle in the fall, and so we were like, we don't want to brush hog or do anything, because we don't want to have to feed hay all winter, and so we let the grass grow. But there was this one plant that we're like, oh my gosh, this plant is so interesting, and it was like really pretty, and the lambs loved eating it, the donkeys loved eating it, so we just like let it grow and let it grow and let it grow. And then all of a sudden one day there was like every single one of those plants that was covering like a third of our property was covered in about 1,000 little burrs, and apparently that's a cockleburr plant. And now we know better, but like, oh my gosh, we like in the first part of the fall, I was taking off like a few hundred cockleburrs off of the dogs every day, which was taking literally like, I mean, hours of my time, and because otherwise it would like bunch up and cause them to have skin infections. But now Howdy and Bella, where it's not as much of an issue for them, Howdy and Bella loved scratching their backs on the cockleburr plants. So they're literally like, they walk around and they're like little velcros for the cockleburrs, and it's like now you can't really cuddle them the way that you used to be able to because they're so pokey. Anyway, I diverged. Hey, you know what? Another thing that we really need to talk about is how the building is doing.
Yeah,
the School of All Trades.
Somebody asked that.
The last update that I think a few of you had, if you're not on Instagram, which if you're not on Instagram, or if you are on Instagram and you haven't found me there, my Instagram handle is also Anne of All Trades there, and you'll get a lot more daily updates. And especially people who are more interested in the farming content, I would really encourage you to go find me over there on Instagram, because there's just so much more of that day to day, the milking and the animals and those kinds of things happens there, because it's easier to tell that story in a more instantaneous platform. That said, the building, the last update, if you are only on YouTube, the building project, the last update you had was that we were trying to get the roof on before the winter rains, and as it turns out, snows. And literally thanks to a extremely unexpected response to the video that I posted, which really was meant to be a, hey, like, if you are having a crappy 2020, like, us too. And like sometimes it's really, really helpful to hear someone else say, just like, me too. Like I'm also experiencing that, and like literally that was my only intention in posting that was to share like, hey, like this year sucked for everyone, and maybe some of the people that you see like, smiling and being cheerful and working through stuff all the time, that can sometimes be actually discouraging, not encouraging. And I didn't want my channel to always be that way, and like the stress, like the personal toll that the stress of that building project took on me during the last few months prior to releasing that video was I mean, I was at a breaking point. Like, I mean, financially, my business was in danger, but like I don't care as much about the financials of the business as much as I care about the people that were depending on me. So like Josh, my business partner, and his family, who I know and love, and like my videographer Kelly and her family, and my manager Charles and some of his employees, like they're all relying on me to provide for their families, and they're relying on the success of my business to do that. And at that time, Daniel, who was helping me, and Parker and Tim, and like all these other, there's so many people attached to the project. And so anyway, that really weighed on me. It seemed pretty hopeless, but we released that video, and not only did my friend James Wood by Right and Rex Kruger, good night, did fundraisers for the building and got that rolling, and then my friend Jordan Alford showed up and was like, hey, we're in between projects and we would love to help you get this roof on. So they showed up and put a roof on it, and like that was, I mean, we paid for it, but they gave us a really good deal. And yeah, the way the community showed up and put the roof on the building, that whole project kind of started as what felt like a more personal project. Like it's been my dream to have a school and a place where people can gather on my own farm, because I mean, if you followed me for a few years, you might know that I used to run a woodworking school in Seattle, but the biggest problem there was not the community or anything else, because it was an incredible community. I love being part of it, but the hour-and-a-half commute to go 12 miles in Seattle traffic twice a day really started to wear on me and started to take away from my ability to be on the farm and to invest in my community the way that I wanted to. And so I was like, I really need to get out of that situation and recreate one of my own. So when I started this project, it was so that I could have that community and I could foster that learning environment here on my property. But I really didn't think until I released that video, really, that other people would care about seeing antiquated craft and tradition being preserved as much as I did, and that they would want to see the roof go on the building and the building get finished the way that I did. And so that really was a great wake-up call for me, that that this wasn't just something that it was just mine, but other people wanted to share in it too. So that was pretty cool.
I know you'll like this one. Marty says, thanks for a ton for your content. My 3 daughters finally have
Something fun, creative, and valuable to view on YouTube that's presented by someone that they can look up to. Thanks. I know that means a lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, having like getting messages from especially from dads, to be totally honest, like I don't want to get like teary about this. Oh, it's too late. But like dads that are investing in their daughters and encouraging them to come out in the shop with them or to do projects, like, I mean, I said earlier, there is something so powerful about seeing someone who looks like you doing what you want to do. And I'm not trying to like make political statements or anything by being a girl who does things that guys usually do. It's just something that my grandpa did with me, and I loved it. And I loved so much that he didn't stick to gender stereotypes and not let me do those things that gave me so much joy. And like to see little girls getting that same opportunity, like, makes my heart swell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chris, she's drinking Sweetwater IPA.
But here's something. When we lived in Seattle, I had a beer sponsor who would give me these personalized, like, to my flavor profile. They gave me new beers every month, and they don't ship to Tennessee because of legal reasons. And I will say that the IPA, I think I already said it actually, the IPA in Tennessee leaves a little to be desired.
Wait a minute, this is from Georgia.
I'm saying that I don't know where it's from, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Georgia, I'm not meaning to I'm really saying like the IPA that's available in Tennessee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Readily available,
Shots-
not readily
shots fired,
available.
shots
I'm sorry.
fired. And for president, that's nice, Donald. How's the old property doing? Oh, that's kind of
Oh,
fun.
that is actually really fun. Well, it's also a little bit sad because part of coming or part of like in moving here, we had the plan to go back and visit Seattle every month because Adam still leads a team that is out of Seattle, and so we like his work would pay for us to go back, and then because we have so many family and friends that we left. I mean, we literally had family living on three sides of us in Seattle, and we don't have that here. So we were planning to go back and visit, not to mention the fact that when we sold our property to literally the perfect buyers who could not have been better handpicked to buy our property because I was really worried when we went to put the property up for sale that 5 years of my blood, sweat, and tears investing in that property was going to end up not being appreciated or being seen more as a liability than a asset. And Daryl, the guy who bought Daryl and his wife Penny, the guy who bought our farm from us, literally, he was a woodworker. He owns a door making company. He had always wanted his own blacksmithing shop. His wife is a master gardener, and they had always wanted to get goats, alpacas, and miniature donkeys. I obviously did not leave the miniature donkeys because Howdy and Bella are parts of my heart and my family, and I could never leave them behind. But I did help Daryl and Penny get some goats from the same goat breeders that I got my dairy goats from, who are incredible goats. Cody and Chelsea at Rainy Sunday Ranch in Washington. They are incredible resources for dairy goats. But we got them all set up, and then right as we were leaving, we found out we weren't going to be able to take our alpacas with us, which was like beyond heartbreaking. But Daryl and Penny agreed to take them over, and other like sad things that you wouldn't even think about leaving, but like we were there for 5 years. I had built like this fully self-sufficient homestead. Like we had established fruit trees, and our chicken coop / composting facility was like in full swing. And I had 2 chest freezers worth of food that I preserved, and an entire pantry of food that I'd put aside for us, which funnily enough in the middle of a pandemic would have been very handy to have. But actually, instead of any of those things becoming, again, an asset or a liability to us or to the people that purchased the farm from us, they took all that stuff and then used it. And I've gotten messages since we left of like, this is the happiest that Daryl's 79 years old. This is the happiest he's ever been. His dreams have come true. He's like so productive. He wakes up and is so happy every day. Penny's doing amazing. They've the tiny house. Daryl finished it and turned it into a art studio for Penny, which is awesome. And then they send us pictures of the alpacas and of the goats that we left with them, and all these things, and like pictures of the garden, and like they call and ask for advice, and it's just like, I mean, usually when in home buying situations, you're not like, you don't even get to ever meet each other, but we spent time together and came to love each other. And that was a long tangent, but that is one of the saddest things about not being able to go back every month, is that we were hoping to be able to visit our animals, which would have been nice, but also even coach Daryl and Penny as they were going along and help them out, planting the spring garden and things like that.
Speaking of the garden, High 5 KLE
yes
wants to know,
what are you doing now to prepare for next
season's garden?
Well, at this exact moment, the garden is under 6 inches of snow and ice.
It got quite cold.
It got unexpectedly cold. So right this exact instant, I'm doing nothing. And however, had I had opportunity in 2020 to get more set up, but like here's a funny thing about like panic buying and everything that happened like as the pandemic started, is that like a lot of the things that I expected to just be able to buy here when we got here, I wasn't able to, like seed starting trays and like warming lights and canning jars and things like that, those just did not exist in 2020. So actually I would be doing a ton of seed starting and things like that this year. I actually was going to build a greenhouse last summer, but polycarbonate panels are made in China and there's no shipping opportunities and things like that. So actually this year I'm just planning to, I'm honestly just going to enjoy the free time that I don't have to spend spritzing my tomato plants every 5 hours and things like that. And I'm just going to buy live plants. I have a friend who farms up the road who's helping me do some seed starting on my behalf. And so that stuff is happening. But conveniently, I just get to trade for or barter for or buy some of those things when the time comes and not have to worry about it right now.
Daryl?
Hey, my neighbor's in Bellevue, 3 doors down.
Oh, no way!
That's
What a small world. Yeah, they did live in Bellevue before, and aren't they just like the kindest, sweetest, most wonderful people? And Jeff Kohler asks, do you use ash from your fires in the garden? Absolutely. People ask all the time about, actually, funnily enough, about the lathe shavings. First of all, I grew up basically with no financial resources to speak of, and my grandpa grew up in the Great Depression, so I learned lots of tips and tricks from him about being resourceful and whatnot. But we reduce, reuse, and recycle just about everything. So like the wood shavings, like the wood chips and all that stuff, that like it either becomes animal bedding or it goes into the garden, and we do a ton of composting, and yeah, that's what happens with that stuff.
Hi from Holland. Wow.
Oh wow! Isn't it like the middle of the?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it should be like the middle of the night maybe there. But oh, Mina's her roommate. No way! Mina, our real estate agent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what the? Wow, this is really the smallest world. Any collab classes with you and Ashley? I live in Charleston, would love to take classes with you both. We'll have to see about that. Honestly, a big thing about, like, I'll be honest, like, prior to the pandemic,
Nice.
what?
Oh, keep going.
Oh, prior to the pandemic, I had to travel to either teach or to speak or whatever, like 2 to 3 times a month. And at the beginning of the pandemic, like I was really worried because a huge portion of my income was attached to those things. But as it turns out, I really am excited to have the school here and to not have to travel as much anymore. That is something that I'm really, really looking forward to. It's not something that I expected to happen as a result of the pandemic, but yeah, so I definitely will travel and teach still because I think that I really enjoy doing that. But also a big part of us moving to Nashville was expanding the farm, and while Adam does love the farm, it's not really his thing per se, and so I run like 99.99% of the daily operations here, and so I don't, as much as I love it and as much as I've expanded it, we're literally doing 15-20 times what we were doing in Seattle here in Nashville. And it was already a pretty big thing to saddle Adam with when I went out of town asking him to milk my goats. But now I have a dairy cow and we have beef cattle. There's 80 animals just like on our property. So that's like a little bit more of a favor to ask of Adam when I go out of town. And so I think there will definitely be less travel, but it will be much more intentional travel moving forward.
Justin's here.
And one of my very best friends, Justin, call me maybe. He is actually, if you've seen, he's made a couple of my YouTube videos. He made my starting over YouTube video and my tiny Windsor chair. Let me just go get it, and he can remember the trauma bond that we formed while filming a YouTube video together. Here it is. Everyone thought that I was building this chair for a baby, but actually I was building it for my bunny. There we go. The question's been answered. A phenomenal waste of time, in case you're wondering. But the best kind of wasted time, because I learned things, and now I have something to show for it.
He says Annie almost lost her eye building that chair.
Actually, I don't remember that, but it's very likely and mostly possible. Joan M says that we need farm hands. I agree. That has been a really interesting challenge to navigate. Mostly because to be able to have people well, first of all, because we've had a lot of people who've offered to help, but they've actually really wanted to just have an experience at a petting zoo that was like a self-guided tour by me, and that ends up taking an inordinate amount of my time, like training people to learn how to help, like how to be helpful, and then they turn out to not really be that helpful because they only wanted to pet the animals and not actually shovel crap. So like, yeah, so that's been a pretty interesting thing to navigate. And then the other thing too is that in Washington we had like the house was A, extremely small, and B, in dire need of like a lot of repair to it for it to be like kind of inhabitable for people that weren't forced to live there, which
like,
Adam will talk about.
Yeah.
But in that it was really really tough for us to like have people come and stay for a long enough time, because if we did, then A, we'd be living on top of each other, and B, like they would have no privacy, nor would we. So that's been an interesting thing to navigate. But one of the next projects that I think you'll be seeing on the YouTube channel, I hope, is right above us. There's a hayloft, and I'm going to be building a little apartment, very rudimentary apartment, so that people can come and stay on the farm and help us clean.
Kenneth has reduced everything down to animals equals poop.
He's correct, really. I mean,
I can't argue with that.
you really can't. Poop happens.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from there.
I mean, that seems like Bad Cat says he's shoveled more crap in his lifetime than I can remember. Me too. Literal and figurative.
How did you manage to get Adam to support your farm dream?
I don't know, how did you manage to get me to support your farm dream?
Do you support my farm dream?
Of course I do.
I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, this sounds, I don't know how to put this in a way that won't be received poorly, and like really, I say things on the internet, and it's someone's gonna receive it poorly always. But I mean, like, he kind of had no choice, because he knew when we got together that like, A, that I'm very stubborn, and B, that like what I say kind of goes. And C, that like he knew that if we were going to stay in America, that the condition for that was that we were going to have a farm. And so like support, he has always been very, 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 very verbally supportive. Get him to shovel poop sometimes. He has very recently, we made a kind of a pact this year to spend more time doing the thing that the other person likes to do, so that we can get to know each other better, and so that we actually have intentional time together. And I will say that this year, Adam has shoveled more crap than any years combined previously.
There you go.
So that supporting my farm dream, it was that he knew he had no choice.
There you go.
But I mean, I really can't say that as like, I can't give you advice in that. I don't think that that's good advice, because like just saying that your way there or the highway will probably mean that you're farming by yourself. Well, I mean, I am, but I mean, like, at least I get to come home to this little stud muffin every night.
All right, you brought it around. Good.
Okay, good.
Let's see.
Hay is the first stage of poop. Actually, so is this interesting? I don't know. I classify all kinds of poop in different ways. Like there's like if it's an animal that's a ruminant that only eats hay, I'm like, okay, well this is just hay that's been recycled. And that kind of poop, I'm like, it's not even really that gross to me anymore. Like, it doesn't smell that bad. It does smell bad, but like not that bad. Would I drop a sandwich in it and eat it still? I mean, it would be questionable. But would I pick it up with my hands and throw it? Yes, absolutely. Have done, will do again. 10 out of 10 recommend. But then like classifications go up to like other things that they eat. Like if they eat meat or like other things, then it gets grosser and grosser. So like dog poop's gross, but like the worst of all things is cat poop. Like, there is not a poop grosser than cat poop. How did we get to this? This is my first beer, and it's not even half gone.
We're going way off track.
We're off track here. But really, the biggest thing that I wanted to do tonight was just give everyone an update and check in with everyone and say, hey, like we're still here and we're so thankful that you're still here. Are you laughing about Kenneth's comment about marriage is poop distribution and management?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenneth, you're a good one. Let's, oh gosh. Oh, actually, I will say, Kenneth made a comment that is very true about chicken poop. That is also, chickens are foul.
They are foul, yeah.
FOWL.
They are also FOUL animals. They're a gateway drug, but I would actually say that, oh, you know what? Here's my chance. Here's my chance to offer some unsolicited advice. Everyone always says chickens are a gateway drug. Like if you're getting into farming or something, get chickens. I would actually say if you're getting into farming, get a rabbit. Raise rabbits because A, the meat tastes better. It's easier to harvest. Plucking a rabbit takes 1 second as opposed to, wow, this really just got deep. I did not mean that to happen, but really what I was going for with all this is that chickens are a gateway drug, and if chickens are a gateway drug, they're usually a gateway drug to goats, and goats are an amazing animal, and I love my goats very, very dearly, but you should not, if you're interested in homesteading, if I can give you any advice whatsoever, start with rabbits, not chickens. If you insist on having fowl, then get ducks. Ducks are way better for lots of reasons. But if you're going to get ducks, then get little drinking nipples. Don't give them a pond or they're going to reek if they're in confinement. If they're out of confinement, then yes, give them a pond. It's so fun to watch them splash around. It's very cute. But do not graduate from chickens to goats. Goats are like a level 10 animal that needs to you need to have experience with other livestock before you have goats, because goats will make your life living hell if you're not prepared for them, which like most people as they're getting into farming, like they're not fully prepared. So yeah, anyway, I love my goats. I wish I could, oh wait, maybe I can't, oh no, it's on my phone. I was gonna try to show them a picture of my dad. Today, my dad is actually an incredible photographer, and that's like part of how I learned about photography. But I asked him, I was showing him the camera that I use for YouTube videos, and I was showing him it today, and I was like, oh, could you take some pictures after I'd shown it to him? And he went out there and he bent over to take some pictures of the goats, and June knocked him over, and then all of the goats jumped on top of him, and he was like laying in the snow, like getting trampled. And I mean, I was laughing so hard I couldn't even help him up, and also I had to video it. So actually, if you want to see a video of my dad getting nearly trampled to death by goats, please go check out Instagram.com/animaltrades and look at my stories. And I think that that's a pretty good place to end it then. You know, we laugh at each other's pain and we hug each other after it's over.
Alright, should we play some music?
Do you want to play some music?
I don't know.
I mean,
people were asking for it.
Well, but like the instruments are not tuned.
Okay, well.
Okay, we should. Okay, we can play one song, but I'm gonna just say right now, it's gonna be a song that if you've ever heard us play before, it's probably something you've heard before, because it's like the only song we could play cold.
Yeah, your mandolin might be out of tune.
My mandolin's definitely out of tune because of the humidity changes that have happened.
It's okay.
For those of you who are just joining us in our relationship saga, Adam and I met when I was good. Oh God, I was like, is that our starting point? Yeah, we have a huge problem. Well, then tell a story while I tune it. Tell about how we met. Okay, great. I'll be over.
Alright. Do you want my phone?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, can you play an E for me though? Wait, not an E. I'm sorry, G.
No.
This is not gonna work. Play an E. No.
This isn't gonna
No,
work.
Adam, it's gonna take too long.
Alright, well this is a teaser then.
This is a teaser for the next time. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your Friday evening to hang out with us and to have a beer or a glass of milk together. Thank you so much for your support. If you are looking for ways to support, go on over to Patreon and theschoolofalltrades.com. At the School of All Trades. Oh wait, this Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Josh, my business partner, and I will be teaching a class about time management, manufacturing time when you have none. So if you're wanting to do things but you don't have the time for them, you feel too busy for them, we're going to teach you how to, like, not only are we going to give you some like tips and tricks about like just general time management, because this all kind of started with a bunch of people asking me how I had time to do everything that I do. And it really kind of morphed into examining our motivations for things and how we actually prioritize things. So, schoolofalltrades.com, it's $15 if you want to come hang out with us for an hour. There will be questions afterwards. And Kate, Service Dog Max, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Kate is a patron and is super, super supportive and offers all kinds of help and assistance and encouragement all the time. You all have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you again soon. By the way, stay tuned for a video and a regular video release next Saturday. Cheers! And actually, cheers because it's actually up here, not over there. So how do we...